think we all know about using primary and secondary sources, and whether they be articles or whatever, to kind of learn about and interpret history and historical events. And Stephanie could probably tell us more about that. But as for more recent things that have happened in our society, we can use news sources, as long as we find credible sources and unbiased sources, and a variety of sources. But if you're like me, you don't keep up with recent events probably as much as you should. Should do that. But I think we can definitely say that our society has changed a lot and experienced a lot in the past 15 or 20 or so years. And what better way of studying that change than to look at a show that has been keeping up with America's current events since 1997. So, yes, I'm here to ask you all to consider using South Park as a means of looking at how our society has changed over the 17 years that it's been on air, as well as a way of seeing where our society has been, where it's going, and maybe as a way of even interpreting that change. So if you don't like South Park, or you've never seen it, you're just going to have to bear with me, okay? So what are some aspects of society that South Park has covered? Well, whether it be religion, politics, celebrities, and of course current events, South Park is not above bashing everybody and everything. But I would argue that there's kind of deeper stuff going on. So when I look at some of the earlier episodes, when I watched them, I found that I don't really get them. I don't really understand them as well as I understand more recent ones. And I don't get the references, and I don't really get what's going on as well as I do the recent ones. So I think the fact that I don't understand those episodes as well speaks to the fact that our society has really changed a lot. Because after all, South Park has, always kind of focused on current events. I mean, they have stupid episodes that have nothing to do with anything as well. But, they focused on current events, and some of those episodes are just, way over my head. So, South Park has a lot of topics, and they come at them throughout the seasons, throughout the years, from different standpoints and different viewpoints. And for lack of time, I'm just going to focus on one of those topics, and the one that I chose is race. So, looking at an earlier episode of South Park that aired in 2000, called Cartman's Silly Hate Crime 2000. So, in this episode, they talk about hate crime laws. And the writers kind of come at it from, the standpoint that hate crime laws are silly and that they shouldn't be in place. And basically, that it's creating different inequalities and stuff like that. And I think that reflects kind of the views of our society at that time in the late 90s and early 2000s when, like I said, I'm terrible with my history, but there was kind of, it's post-civil rights, and there's all this hate crime legislation kind of going on. And I think at the time our society was having kind of trouble accepting that maybe we do need laws, and maybe we do need, these different laws for hate crimes to make society more equal. But fast forward to 2013, and you have a great episode called World War Zimmerman, which it's a parody of the movie World War Z, which I've never seen, but I think the episode is so great. So this episode covers the George Zimmerman trial and the the Trayvon Martin shooting, all of that stuff. And basically the point that the writers that South Park tries to get across is that had Trayvon Martin been white, George Zimmerman probably would have been convicted. But Trayvon was indeed black, so, George Zimmerman got off and all of that stuff. And I know, this case is really, split. I don't think there's a lot of middle ground still on that topic. But I think the episode reflects societies that, like, we as a society are moving towards this idea that there is a flaw in our system, that our justice system has unequal, privileges, if you will, and that it's basically just messed up. So I think that's what that episode leaves you with, is that, oh, we need to maybe implement laws, we need to maybe change laws, maybe we need to do away with some laws to kind of correct that flaw in our justice system and move towards equality. And so when you compare these two episodes, one from 2000, one from 2013, I think you can see that, there are two similar topics, topics about laws regarding race. And I think we can see that our society has kind of shifted from thinking that, we don't really need laws, everything's good, we had civil rights, that's good enough, to now, 2013, 2014, going into 2015, we might need some laws to change things. And obviously, if you're going to use South Park as a way to interpret society, you have to be careful, because, obviously it's one source, plus, its basic goal is comedy, it's satire. But I think that, like I said, there's deeper stuff going on. And I just want to leave you with the idea that you could use South Park and other things in pop culture to kind of see where society has been, how it's changed, the attitudes that have changed, and maybe even to see where we're going in the future. And with that being said, screw you guys, I'm going home.